I'm just waiting for people to come online. If you're watching this in the replay, I don't know if people are coming along. I haven't done a live stream in a long time, so we'll see how many people show up. I have no clue. Usually get a couple hundred, but it's getting pretty slow now. So here we go. Somebody just joined. I think I thumbed up myself. We'll see what happens. Aloha. How are you? Namanja. It's been a long time since I've done a live stream. Thanks for joining. I'm going to wait for people to show up before I get into it. This is going to be a free-for-all. I've been just really busy. This time of year is a busy time of the year for me, so I want to get back on these live streams. So here I do one. Can you guys hear me? Hey Nathan, how are you? Let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? We'll find out in a second. Hey, how are you? Long time no see. What's up? Not too much, not too much. Yes, so I guess you guys can hear me. Yeah, give me I can hear you. I want to hear hey. Good. All right, good. We had some audio problems before. How's the video quality? Is it clear this time? Yes. Hey, Stefan and Chad from New York City. Hey, cool. My neighbor's down south. You are audible. Fantastic. Good. What are we using? What microphone are we using? Okay, we're using the built-in mic. Good. We're using this mic. So, how's everybody doing? I'm going to wait for a few more people to get on. Yes, we can hear. Thanks, Satara. Good. All right. I asked because we had some mic problems in a previous broadcast. It was the software messing up. Yep, on the video. Good. Cool. So I upgraded my camera, and so I just want to test it out. Also want to touch. I just want to ask you between React Native versus Flutter. All right. Let's wait till we get at least 50, 75 people on. I know it's been a while since I've live streamed, so we're at 33 or so. And then I'll get into it. React Native versus Flutter. I think React Native is much more established. Although Flutter is, it looked very good. I haven't looked at it honestly in a while. But when I did look at it, it looked really good, and it seems to have a strong core group. So I would just look at both and see how they relate to your project and choose whichever one you like. It's hot as hell in California, I can imagine. It's pretty hot in Montreal. So imagine California. What cameras did you get? Well, I upgraded my C200 cinema camera to a new C300. Yeah, I'll show you. Hold on. Good. So, this is the old one. And I'm actually selling this. I got a few buyers. It's a great camera. I bought this 3 years ago. Turned out to be a very good investment. And I got a brand new camera that just came out from Canon, and you're looking at it right now. It's just a much better camera, much easier to work with, much higher picture quality. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. When it comes to equipment, if you're in production, whether you're writing code or doing videos, whatever, if your key tool can improve your productivity by 10 or 15%, then it's worth getting into. It's worth buying. If you got an active business. Yeah. Hello, I'll buy it. Problem is, where are you located? That's the thing. I'm in Canada. Shipping and stuff could be an issue. As a freelance web dev, should I go to LLC? Should I go LLC? Limited liability corporation. It depends on where you are in the world, and depends on the tax system. So I'll just give you Canada, and I'll that will probably give you a guideline for your country. So whether you go sole proprietorship, which is a very simple business structure that you see in most countries, versus a corporation, an LLC, limited liability corporation, there's pros and cons to each. The simple sole proprietorship, the simple business usually costs you like $50 or $20 to set up, and it's Bob's your uncle, you're ready to go. But you are taxed at the same rate as an individual. So the more money you make, the more taxes you pay, and you're personally liable for everything. So somebody sues you, you're liable. Now, fortunately, in the web development world, especially if you just set up decent contracts, that's not so much of an issue. The advantage of an LLC is that you are protected from being sued to a great extent, and your tax rate is usually far lower. So the downside of an LLC, it costs a lot more money to set up, and the accounting every year is a lot more expensive. So the accounting, and I'll just say Canada, the accounting might be $100 for your sole proprietorship per year, whereas an LLC could be $2,000, $10,000, $5,000, $25,000 a year, depending on the complexity. When do you go LLC? When you want to screen yourself from liability, you want to protect yourself from liability. And two, if you find you're going to be making over a certain amount of money where it makes sense to become a limited liability corporation to get that lower tax rate. And it's usually a lot lower. Ask a local bookkeeper and accountant about that. They'll tell you. So for instance, if you're making under, I'm just pulling a number here, you're just making under 50 grand. When you're first starting off, it might be better to just have a sole proprietorship. If you're making over 50, when all things are considered, you'd be better off having a corporation. I hope that answers that question. Oh, Vancouver, Canada. Now, that makes it easier to ship. If you're really serious, let me know. You can send me an email, and I can give you the details. You got a cannon. What about ammo? Very good. What a nice plant in the background. Very good. I guarantee you this plant is real. 100% it's real. This one, see, I got to learn my camera fingering techniques. There we go. There we go. I got much bigger plants. Nice tip. Buy a tool if it increases your productivity by 15%. Indeed, indeed. Thank you, Steph, for all you had and are doing. Love the videos and the courses. I'm glad I can help, David. Yeah, see, this is what happens when you don't do your live broadcasts. You only have 68 people on board. Typically, we would get like 200, 250 people, but whatever. They'll come back. Hi, Steph. Are all web app frameworks similar? If I learn Laravel, it will be easy to learn Django. Yes, all of the modern frameworks are very similar. They're built on the basic same principles and parameters. So like, I'm fairly certain that Django is MVC based, as is Laravel, as is several others, whatever, Java Spring, etc., Ruby Rails. Yeah, for sure. And it's good because you'll be able to compare and contrast, but you're going to see a lot of similarities. Trailer Park Boys fans. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I forgot I could do this. Trailer Park Boys fans. Yes, I am. It's, there you go. What a nice real plant in the background. There you go. I forgot I pay for his software so I can do this. I can go like this. Boom. All right, now you can see that. All right, let's see what we got here. Steph, how does one get a job in such a saturated market, and with the COVID running amok, do you see the market getting better soon? Just look at what's in demand and just develop the skills accordingly, and you should be okay. I think I haven't heard of developers having trouble, but if you are, just look at what skills you have and so on. Really fake, yes. This plant back here is a fake plant. I used to have all live plants, but whenever I would go travel, I would have to bring people plants so they wouldn't die or put watering spikes in them. It was a real pain. So I find my fake plants. You see, my other fake plant I just bought is amazing. This one's like meh, but I'll show you guys. The fake plants look unbelievably realistic. So your kitchen got planted. Yes, yeah, good jokes. Everybody's got some jokes today. Would you advise to get a comp sci degree? Only if you want to get into a very large corporation, and only if you're not going to go into student loan debt for that. Okay, let's scroll down. Answer that one. Hello from Israel. Hey, Dimitri, how you doing? Is Electron JS worth learning? I don't know. I haven't used it. Atari, you really are 176 years old. You better believe it. Okay, somebody's using my JavaScript sheep here. That's the official JavaScript sheep. Do you ever struggle with discipline or staying on schedule? Yeah, I used to all the time. The key is just to set minimum goals on a daily basis. So if you're learning to code or you're just coding, you say, at least I'm going to do 20 minutes a day. And some days you might only do 20 minutes, but at least you move the ball forward. But often what happens is when you actually sit down and do stuff, you start working, things start to happen. So yeah. Let's see, Hamza Azar. Hey, hello, Steph. I love your videos. It's kind of hard to find local businesses to work with. I'm new to WordPress freelance. What do you suggest? Well, build up a really nice site. Make sure that's done. And then the next thing I would do would be maybe try some job online, like freelance sites and stuff. Just to build up a little bit of reputation. What's your story with Ruby? It's a mystery. It's a mystery. Do you have a SaaS course? Not everyone wants to be a face-to-face consultant. Oh, do I have a course that teaches you how to develop a SaaS business? My entrepreneur business will teach you a lot about that. It talks about everything, including the SaaS and what it makes sense to build a SaaS, what are the pros and cons of building a SaaS, besides all these other types of businesses. Love your courses. I'm glad you do. Thanks for letting me know. Hi from Toronto. Hello, Vania D. What do you think is the best way to screen developers that you want to hire or want to work with? Well, I have experience with those who wear glasses tend to be pretty good. All joking aside, you talk to them and you see if they have intelligent questions to ask you, and see what they know, see if they have a background, see if they have a website that looks good, see if they can show you something. I am thinking what question to ask. Oh, there you go. That was a wasted click, that one there. Okay, I appreciate the work you do for us. Thank you so much for your guidance. It's very useful. I'm glad I could help. All right, 106. I'm very disappointed. 107 people and only 26 thumbs up. Anyway, here we go. Roberto Cipriani, give a coding assignment and look for software engineering skills. Work nicely for me. There you go. In case you don't know, Roberto is a co-founder of a successful startup called Paper Learning. Is PHP underrated? It is. Don't screen, just hire me. There you go. Confidence is good. Confidence is good. Oh, hold on. Here we go. How do you recommend finding other developers to work on a project with you, especially if you are young? Ooh, that's interesting. Maybe communities that you might join, Reddit communities. I don't know if there's local coding clubs, if they still exist. Take your time, vet people well before you start doing business with them. Hi mate, do you know Genflow? It rhymes, but I do not know that. Your Python class is really helping me understand programming, but that snake still makes me jump when it moves. Thanks for letting me know. That was my goal. I wanted to sneakily have the snake scare people. I'm fantastic. See, now you'll remember for sure. I am 30, never coded before in my life, doing with CS50 Intro to Computer Science course, but want to be a full stack developer. Advice to me, keep coding a little bit every day. Every day, do a little bit of coding. And when you get a piece of code to work, break it on purpose, look at the error message and then fix it. Break it another way, look at the error message and fix it. Understanding the error messages and what they're telling you is going to help speed up the whole learning process and make you a better coder. Somebody in the background is chatting through Telegram. Oh, you know what that is? I know what that is. Okay, there we go. That's the software. I should have turned that off. No SAS course. What about Sasquatch? Okay, okay. I'm not sure. I know that's a joke, but I just don't understand it. If you could pick the most streamlined full stack coding process as a small software dev company, what would you focus on? PHP Laravel. PHP Laravel. Hi, Steph. I finished my comp sci degree and an internship, but I want to try freelancing instead of working for a corporation. I'm thinking about learning Laravel. Is that a good way to get started? Yes, it is. Simply because there's a lot of demand for PHP development, and you may find yourself, you may not end up doing full stack stuff at first. You may do some WordPress installs and updates. You may start doing little simple things like modifying older code bases, but that's a good way to get going if your goal is freelance. When you're a freelancer and you're into your business, especially, you should be less concerned about the tech and more concerned about the demand and whatever tech fills that demand. How is your new course coming along? Can we get a hint of what it's all about? Yeah, I talked about it in my mentoring group. The new course is not code. It's, I think it's probably going to be one of my most important courses ever put out. And I'll just give you the title. It's called, well, the working title, I don't know if it's going to be the final title, but the working title is The Lizard Wizard. So I'll take it from there. It's, I think it's going to be entertaining for people. I'm 43 and been self-employed in France without favors or subsidies, but it means I can't pay for my DW. How do I argue this with a London employer? My DW. I don't know what do you mean? Your Dreamweaver license? Let me know what that means. Roberto says, Julio Mendena, you can use a meetup. Yeah, there we go. Roberto knows. He's the guy I listen to. I'm the guy who sent you emails still looking for work. You're one of the many guys who sent me emails. I wish you the best of luck getting work. Keep working at it. You'll get it, guaranteed. You just got to keep going. I'm looking to learn backend. I hear a lot of people recommend Node, ASP, Spring, PHP, or Golang. What would you recommend for someone who wouldn't mind working with someone and the job market? Step number 1, learn your foundations. Step number 2, put up a website. Step number 3, do 1 to 2 little freelance gigs to develop some skills, real world skills. And then start looking at the job opportunities in your area. You could reverse that too. You could maybe start looking at, go to Indeed.com, type in the area where you want to work, and just see where the opportunities are. You may think that Golang's fantastic, but you may check that there's no Golang jobs in your area. So first thing you got to do is check the jobs and then do foundations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What you're going to find out in time is as you become more and more of a developer, the language becomes less of an issue. Most of the work is not in the minutia of the language and the syntax and so on. It's just putting together systems. So it becomes less and less important. Okay. Can I get a good job from Stack Overflow without experience? From Stack Overflow. Oh, you mean a job listed on Stack Overflow? Well, I would get a little bit of experience just doing a couple of freelance gigs. That's usually enough. Hi, Steph. How would you start freelancing as a 3D artist? Roberto might be able to offer that. He has a cousin he's done a lot of freelancing as a 3D artist. So maybe Roberto could chime in on that if he's still around. Same thing. Put up a portfolio. Start reaching out to local companies. Say you're open to freelance. Have a site, 3D art. You might start picking up stuff. I would imagine as a freelancer it'd be more difficult than getting a full-time job. It's more specialized, but maybe Roberto can. I remember I was talking to him about one of his cousins who is a 3D artist, and I think he was doing some freelance, but correct me if I'm wrong on that one. Any advice for Torontonians? What project to focus on? Python and Node so far. What is your advice? Look at the local job market in Toronto. See what the Torontonians are interested in. And then if you see there's demand for the type of Python work you want to do, because there's all kinds of different types of Python work, then learn Python. And if there's demand for Node.js, then learn Node.js. If you happen to make a mistake, for instance, you learn Node and you find out, oh no, there's only Python jobs. For you to pivot from Node to Python, be pretty easy. So I wouldn't be too concerned. Don't you have brain damage because of all those years of boxing? Well, of course, can't you tell? What type of code work? Julia Mendina. So Alberto has a question for Julio, excuse me. What's the average age of expert coders in Canada and USA? I have no clue. For me, you get pretty good after about, like, you can start leading projects 3 to 4 years if you're really talented. You can start coding fairly quickly as a junior, like months if you low-level work. But you can start leading smaller or medium projects, 3 to 4 years. Yeah, I don't know what the average age is, though. Hi, Steph. Looking forward to use your system for a course. What students groups do you think is better to create? Students that are 1 to 3 year in faculty, or students that are not yet in faculty? Because of my brain damage, I'm trying to process that question. What student groups do you think is better to create that are 1 to 3 year in faculty, or students are not yet in faculty? Okay, so you want to use my system. You're talking about using Studio Web within the school context. It depends on the particular course in question. So my HTML, my CSS, you can go down pretty young with that. Python, PHP, older. It depends on, if you email me and we can talk about exactly what you want to implement, I can give you some suggestions there. Hello, David Sagan. I don't know if I pronounced that properly. Hello from Romania. Hi from Canada. I like knowing what. I like knowing from where people are watching. All right, 129 people. All right, Roberto. Is Meetup a website? No. A Meetup is you can have local meetups in your town. So Montreal, they'll have coder meetups. So. They'll have like a Python developer meetup where 50 people will show up, or they'll have a PHP developer meetup where 55 people will show up, and then you have a Ruby on Rails meetup where 2 people will show up, etc., etc. All right, that dripping sound is not water. No, that dripping sound was the software. I since muted it. I gave you a Ruby joke and I got a thumbs down for that. That's not cool. Okay. I'm just kidding around, guys. Hi, Steph. What's your thoughts on 5PJS library? I haven't looked at that. I've never even heard about that. I'll take a look. Are you telling me developers never look at tutorials? Of course they do. But they should be done after the fact, Here's Roberto's answer. Yes, you can find groups for PHP or Laravel that meet in person. It's a great way to meet other coders. Yeah. As I said, listen to Roberto. He's done the whole thing from learning, freelance, working for people, startup. He's got a pretty successful startup. I'm sure you won't mind. I don't know if you'll mind me saying Google is one of his investors in his startup, so he's a co-founder. Steph, how to start my career as a developer during this pandemic? You start by learning to code. I'm handicapped networking wise. Okay, I just did my first freelance website. That's cool. In May and can't find jobs. I feel my CV is just one in the pile. Well, just keep doing a few more little freelance gigs. Make sure your website looks really good. Like they're gonna judge you initially by how well the website looks. So if it looks like a big mess, it's not gonna be good, even if you're a great coder. So make sure it looks good. Yeah. Hi, Steph. I'm an experienced 4+ years Android developer. Cool. Java, mostly Java, I guess. I'm thinking about switching to Java backend Spring. Some requirements overlap, but what level do I fall back to? What's your advice? Well, if you're going to get into Java backend, it's likely going to be Spring. It's likely going to be enterprise, which means you're probably going to need, at this point in time, although it's changing, but you're probably going to need a higher degree. Although that experience comes in very handy. So if you're doing Android development, could you do in that company that you're in, or maybe they're doing backend Java, I don't know. But the fact that you got 4 years experience writing Android Java, I think you should be a fairly easy transition, especially if you have any higher, any university or college degree. JS feels boring ASF after Python. How should I learn it? Man, 20 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day. I know when you're, I don't know, I'm guessing that JavaScript is your second language. There's always resistance when you're kind of used to working in one language and working the Python way, if you will. And then you switch to the next one, it's kind of, ooh, this is weird. And there's resistance. I've been there too. Just do 20 minutes a day and you'll get used to it, and you start seeing the idiosyncrasies. That is, JS is very inconsistent in some ways. It's weird, but I think it's the #1 most popular language. You can't lose learning JS these days, but once you learn your third, fourth language, it becomes all the same. What's the average age expert coders get? We got that one already. Okay, I don't know. Do you recommend any advanced PHP courses? No, I recommend that once you know enough PHP to do CRUD, and you've done some simple MVC, then I would jump into Laravel, learn Laravel, do like the hello world of Laravel, and then go out there and start building things. You become an expert coder by coding. And do a tutorial when you need to learn something very quickly and you don't want to read the docs or something. Hi, Steph, Linux or Windows? I don't know. Whatever you like. I use Mac OS and I use Windows. I used to use Linux. Linux is cool, but there's always like an app that it won't run in Linux, It's like, ugh. So it depends what you want to do. It depends what you're doing. Is AI going to redefine the title computer programmer? Not for a while. Let me finish that question. Will there be new demands placed on them? If so, what kinds? Live long and prosper. See, that's a sure sign you're a nerd. Like instant Vulcans. If you can do that, you're a nerd. Will be there new demands? No, I think AI is going to be an assistive technology for the next while. And given time, it will become more and more powerful, but it's not going to replace coders for a while, because experienced coders will tell you, coding is much less, it's less about the code, it's more about architectures and figuring out problems. And AI, can't even drive a car yet, so, What do you think about Julia programming language in the future? I have not used it. I don't know about it. It seems to me it's going to be a niche language, but if you have a demand for it, learn it. Okay, let's see what we got here. I know basic front-end development. I also am familiar with drag and drop WordPress. What's next for me to enhance my career? I would learn full stack. I would learn some back-end language. Since you're doing a little bit of WordPress, I would learn PHP, since WordPress is built with PHP. Learn a little bit of JavaScript. Although for freelance and your overall development, understanding the full stack, understanding server-side coding, PHP will be more useful to you. So that would be my next step. Use Windows. Yeah, it's true. Windows comes with, I think, Linux distributions now. So there you go. Dreamweaver license. That's what it is? DW? Well, don't use Dreamweaver then. Don't use Dreamweaver. You don't have to use Dreamweaver. I am located in Guadalajara. I already messed it up. Guadalajara, Mexico. I'm sure I messed that up. My apologies. I'm right now. It's all the brain damage from the boxing. I'm right now learning how to make apps look pretty and would like some side gig. It's good. It's good. Or just do basic design, any basic design and basic US, top 10 design tips, top 10 UX tips. That will probably get you pretty far. Hey Steph, I just recently followed you on Twitter. I love easygoing your style compared to most tutors. Your advice has always been useful. I'll be subbing to your freelance course at some point. Thanks very much. I'm glad you found my stuff useful. What you'll find in my freelance course, you're going to learn process. It's not just about freelance. You're going to learn how to sort of run a project with there's 5 templates. One of the templates is the freelance tracking template, and it teaches you process in there. And people have said, several people told me that they've learned a lot about the process just looking at that one template. Yeah. We'll see what Michael Clark has to say. Any advice on starting a successful side hustle? I've tried a couple of SaaS products, but none of them have gained enough users to be successful. SaaS is a difficult side hustle. SaaSes take time to develop. They take a long time to develop, unless you're lucky. The quickest way to do side gigs is to do web development, freelance work on the side. That's the quickest way to earn money on the side. SaaSes, you got to have much more of a long-term time horizon and much more patience. So it depends. It depends, So I would maybe work on the SaaS slowly on the side with a medium long-term expectation and do freelance gigs for immediate cash. Before I freelance, you say set up a website. Where's a good place for cheap domains? Search for cheap domains, but domain is you can get decent domains for $8, $9. Don't buy aftermarket domains unless you really need it. Lizard wizard has a different meaning in America. I don't know. It's just it has no meaning that is political, religious, or spiritual in my context anyway. Do you suggest specific software development processes like TDD, test-driven development, extreme programming, etc.? Yeah, that's a bit of a complex subject. I believe in TDD after you have you're out of the beta, alpha stages, maybe beta stages, because your code is so dynamic in the early going of a project that if you start writing all these tests, you're going to be creating a bunch of work for nothing, because you're going to have to rewrite all the tests as some fundamental code is changed. Extreme programming, I think that's kind of fallen out of favor. Extreme where where's it? I would have to look up what the actual meaning of that is today. But it's like paired programming, that kind of stuff. I'll do a video where I talk about what I've been doing for the last 800 years. I started studying web dev last year, quit my job in logistics, and I've been working as a Salesforce admin developer for the last 6 months. Oh, very good. Is this experience considered good for a web developer profile? Any development experience is good to develop your career and your reputation. So that's cool. Yeah. I also know how to work with MySQL, SQLite, and just a bit of Firebase. Cool. Well, keep working at it, man. It's good. TDD is awesome. Yeah, once you have things in place, for sure. Yeah, we have a bunch of, hold on. Would you recommend starting boxing at the age of 40? No, not unless you're just doing it for fun. Don't get in the ring. It's fun to spar. Trust me, it's fun to spar. I used to spar all the time for years. Problem is, you're going to get hit. You're going to get your nose broke at some point. And if you're 40 years old, you don't have the reflex of a 25-year-old. And the problem is, you probably end up getting in the ring with some young whippersnapper who's got something to prove. And you'll say, hey, let's take it easy. And they'll try to knock your head off. And you may be able to handle it, but you never know. Just take it easy if you do it. It's fun, though. I love boxing. Hi, Stefan. What is the average age of Okay. I got to stop clicking on that one. Do you still code? No, not on a regular basis. Just don't have time. I do code reviews once in a while. I architect. Advice for 20-year-olds. Learn something new every day. Develop healthy habits in terms of your diet and exercise and sleep. Start learning how to save on a regular basis, percentage of your income. Start at 10, then get to 20, 30, 40. You want to get to 50, 60, 70, 80 if you can. And start investing as well. And if you do that, you'll retire very young and very happy. I find PHP entertaining. Is this a sign of lockdown mental illness? I don't know. From some people's point of view, it is. Sorry for the noise there. Hello. Okay. What's the difference between web developer and software developer? What's common in them? A web developer is a specialized software developer. Software developers is kind of a broader term. It can include all kinds of different types of developers. Hi, Steph. I am currently learning front-end development. What are the things I must know about back-end to maximize my front-end development? You have to understand the basic full-stack workflow, if you will. You have to understand how the front-end communicates with the back-end and back and forth so that you can design your front ends a little bit more efficiently. You don't have to become an expert in the full stack, but just understanding how data is returned from the back end to the front end. And it's usually these days through JSON objects. You'll be good to go. You'll be good to go. I am either tired or crazy. You said local. I heard local. By the way, it's near 11 p.m. where I am. There you go. You're up late. That's not really, but which do you suggest, MySQL or PostgreSQL? Generally speaking, MySQL, because there's just a lot more people using it. I'm not talking about the technical merits of each of the products. I'm just talking about the, this use case in terms of job potentials. Are you comfortable with any assembly? No, I've never programmed in assembly. How do I cancel this guy here? I'm going to have to make somebody a moderator. What do you think of studying Rust? I've never studied Rust. Again, look at local markets. Dabble in it, see if you like it. Hello, I'm from India. Welcome. What's the difference between web developer and... Okay, I got that one. Okay. You're used to box. Your nose looks like it's never been broken. Great defense. Oh, it was broken 3 times. You can see it's a little, but I had surgery and I rebuilt my nose, and that was the end of my boxing. But I was pretty mobile. I didn't get hit too often. I was one of those guys who like to move a lot. What are the most valuable type of projects to be portfolio to getting a job? The most valuable project in your portfolio to get a job is the type of project that is related to the job that you're after. So if you're after Android jobs, you should show Android projects in your portfolio. Always have the swipe at Ruby. Classic. Well, it's expected of me. All right, I'll be wrapping this up. We've been over almost 40 minutes. Hi, Steph. There are so many fields in programming like full stack developer, data analyst, information security, machine learning. How do you choose, or doing something of all is good too? You learn your fundamentals, and then you start so that you can develop the nerd eyes. What do I mean by nerd eyes? You have the ability to understand these technologies at least a little bit, because working in AI and machine learning is very different from being a full stack developer in terms of your day-to-day work, in terms of the type of work you do, in terms of the type of business you work in, type of company you work in. So I would learn your basics so you understand, I say learn the web stack because it gives you a lot of flexibility. You can do mobile and web and all kinds of stuff. And then from there you could dabble, try a little machine learning, see if that appeals to you. Try a little, whatever, try some full stacks, try some front end, maybe try some mobile, just dabble in it when you're young. You try a little bit here and there, and you see what sticks with you, How do brain damage stop? You don't get hit. That's how you brain damage stop. I'm currently employed full-time in IT and currently in school part-time for a bachelor's in information technology while learning web dev on the side. Possible to land a job while still in school. For sure. For sure. Roberto did that himself. So yes, you can. Yes, you can. Just balance. You start a little bit here and there. How and where can I learn data science, the full course, Python, SQRR? I don't know. Look around. There's online options. But what I would do before I would get into that, I would look at data science as a career and see what people are saying about that career, and then take it from there. Smith, I'm here in San Diego as well. Hey, very cool. I hear San Diego is fantastic, beautiful place. How do you figure out your startup app? How do you figure out your startup app tech stack? Oh, again, it's project specific. You know, it depends on the type of project you're doing. Some technologies lend itself better to others. So for example, you may want to build a startup based off of mobile, and you may figure out that for your application to work, you have to go native because you need to access certain aspects of the handset, of the device. But you may find, no, I don't need to do that. So because we're a startup, we need to be able to develop quickly without spending a lot of money. Then you might want to go PWA or Flutter or something, some cross-platform solution. All right, so you know what time is it now? 43. I'm going to end this off pretty good. All right. Nice shirt. Homage to my youth. Atari, yeah. All right. Just send me a DM. All right. Is Java too advanced as a first programming language? That's a good question because I teach JavaScript, Python, PHP programming languages. But I've done most of my coding career, I don't know, 60, 70% will say is Java. And I've debated that question about teaching Java or JavaScript or Python or PHP first. Java in some ways is easier to get your head wrapped around because it's very precise, very consistent language. Whereas JavaScript is a little inconsistent, so it can confuse people. But on the flip side, Java requires that you know much more about what's going on in the code. There's much more to consider, rather, in the code. I would suggest Python as a first language because it's consistent and it exposes you to a lot of complex concepts. That would be my suggestion. But if you had a real good Java course, you could do it with Java as well. Hey, Steph, are in front end any standards for code file structure? I should stick with achieve consistent reproducible. I'm a dentist and we have official guidelines for everything. There's a lot of competing standards and guidelines in the web world, in the coding world. So that's one thing you have. In dentistry, I would imagine everything is very, as you suggest here, everything is very codified. One of the reasons why you've seen such a quick, and I would argue that you've seen such quick development and such a quick advancement in the tech space is because it's been there's a light touch on it. There's no, people are not trying to, big authorities are not trying to force parameters and working best practices onto the entire industry as a whole. I don't believe in that personally, but there's different standards. There are standards. There's something called design patterns, which are kind of in-code standards that you can look for, and they're kind of fine-grained standards that people implement. So that's something you can look at. You can look at frameworks, MVC frameworks, for instance, in the web stack, whether it be Spring, Java Spring, or Python Django, PHP Laravel. That is kind of like the community has basically evolved and refined, and you have those standards have come about based on real world use. So there you go. So yeah, use a framework. How could you make a Laravel app work offline about 10% of the time and sync a database when there's a data connection? Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good one. I would be PWAing that one, I think, where you could have apps, if I recall, you can have apps that work offline, and then when you do come online, they can sync. You can do that, and you might be able to do that with PhoneGap and maybe even React. I don't know, React Native. I'm not sure about that though. I'm just guessing on that one. That's how you would do that. So basically, you'd be using local store HTML5. I think it's called local store JavaScript, and you would store things local. When you ping, okay, you got no connection, store the file locally, little text file, and then when maybe in some directory, and then when you find you're back online, you have some cron. I would imagine you can run in the background, and it would run every minute or so, and when it would be back online, you can grab those and sync. So there's some complexity there, but that's off top of my head. That's what I would do. Look at anyway. I find PHP pretty entertaining. Okay, we did that one. No, there's money in PHP. All right, here we go. Last question, because it's got the icons in it. Steph, have you thought about making a video or videos on how to create apps or games or AI? What type of math do you suggest brushing up on before coding? I use Sesame Street or Fraggle Rock type. You a Sesame Street or Fraggle Rock type? Fraggle Rock, of course. You don't need much math unless you are getting into AI. The need for math is overstated in software development, unless you're in AI or maybe you're building game engines. But a lot of this stuff, like the complex math, has all been done already, and you just implement or use other people's libraries where they've already done the math. All right, guys, I've been on this for 47 minutes. I'm going to cut this out. I am going to post this. Thing on YouTube, this broadcast, if you missed the earlier one, so you can reference it. I don't know if I'll cut it up or not, answer some questions. Time is pressing, but I will be doing lives more often because my time is freeing up now a little bit. Okay. Do you think C# will surpass Java in the industry? I doubt it, but C# isn't going anywhere anytime soon, so you're good with both. I'll answer a few more. What are the chances of PWA as compared to mobile apps? I think PWA is going to become one of any cross-platform solution. PWA is one of them, is going to be more widely used in time, if it isn't already, over mobile, native mobile rather. Do you still work full time? Kind of. Anyway, that's a long story. Not really, but kind of. This is where it has no meaning in America. I was making a bad joke. You are from the pre-porn times. No, sir, I am not. Since MySQL is owned by Oracle, what about MariaDB, which is a fork of MySQL? I think you're okay with MySQL for now. I wouldn't get too excited about that. Is there any freelance data science jobs? There is a bunch of full stack. I think for every freelance data science jobs, there's probably 10,000 full stack freelance jobs, if there's any freelance data science jobs. There could be, though. It's not my area of expertise. All right, 49 minutes. Okay, I'll go to 50. Okay, let's see. San Diego is beautiful, but far too expensive, even for a native San Diegan such as myself. Yeah, I can understand that. That's what it is. People want to pay for that weather. Do I need front-end development skills to become a software engineer? No, you do not. I do not. I know guys who had their entire careers, they hardly ever touched the front end. I answered this before. Steph, do you still code? Just wondering. No time. Architect, review code, no time. Hello, Colleen. How are you? Okay. All right. So I think I like this question. Do you either love your dad or your mom? All right, that's it. I don't want to get in trouble. I will not answer that question. They're both fantastic. They're both fantastic. Okay. There you go. Definitely Fraggle, of course. I thought Fraggle was more of a Canadian thing, but I guess not. Hey, hi from Lagos, Nigeria. Hello. Cool. Get more plants. I have huge fake plants. Huge. I'm going to get more. Fantastic. Look great. Do people still use Dreamweaver? Worth learning. Only if there's a requirement for it. At one point, Dreamweaver was really big, but it's still, I'm sure it's still widely used, but it's not like what it used to be. All right, so that's it for now. I think we're good. 137. Yeah, let's see. No, 135. Okay, 51 minutes. Sorry, guys, lost my train of thought. I have to go. I got emails to answer, but I hope you enjoyed the stream. I will start streaming again now, but time is slowly freeing up for myself. Thanks for joining in, and that's it for today.